Hello everyone, and welcome back to Guild Wars 2. So we are doing the third section of our Living World Season 3. Chapter 1, Living World Season 3, third section, third mission. Blood and Stone. Not gonna lie, this one threw me for a loop, like a ridiculous loop. I had no idea what to do. I did not realize, like, you didn't need to fly through, like, what portal-looking things. They are not portal-looking things. They are bad news bears. They're like little energy things you don't want to fly through. And I, of course, in true fashion, just made my way there, and so that little blip in the video is I stopped to change my build. So you'll notice my 6 and everything to the right is changed up at this point now. I'd unlocked a bunch of abilities and stuff since I started Guild Wars 2. Like, I hadn't changed my build since I became level 80, essentially. And when you unlock specializations and stuff in, like, your Daredevil, or I don't remember what the other one is, those unlock different abilities, and so I had different things to play around with, and I had never really explored much. I had gotten help building it, and we kind of, based on how I'd played previous games and characters, we kind of went with something, and it just wasn't working right. So I actually dug deep, and I spent quite a bit of time going through and reading each of the descriptions and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I spent some time going and finding hero challenges, hero points, mastery points, all of that stuff to kind of get more of the Daredevil specialization unlocked so that I could have a few more abilities. And I even went through and changed the different attributes and stuff that you can take. So I actually had Daredevil taken now. And then a lot of this first part is just figuring out the map. So we have a bunch of different tasks to do to find the different places. Some places you land and it's utter chaos. And I did not realize initially, like, night and day. I don't know if it's exactly night and day on this map, but it's something similar to where it's a lot more difficult at different parts of it. I also didn't realize how far down you could drop. Like, there is this huge world underneath that you can drop down to. So once I figured that out, and that's where some of the stuff was, and then some of the stuff was up on the little islands and stuff, it's a chaotic map. The only good part about this map is that it's small. So even though there's only like 4 waypoints and a few points of interest and stuff, it's not the hardest. Like, once you get an idea of this map, like, that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy going. Honestly, like, I spent so much time here, I feel like I've got a really good handle on that map at this point. I think it's one of the only maps I actually have map completion on. I think it might be the only map completion I have on this character. Maybe. I really have not focused on map completion completion at all on this one, but this one was small enough that for one of the later quests, it ended up happening. So yeah, we're just checking in and seeing if we can get any information as to the why or how of this explosion that we were a part of, and thankfully somehow survived. So it's actually a pretty interesting storyline. Already I went into Living World Season 3 very, very skeptical. I was like, this is gonna suck. Like, Season 2 was terrible. It was pure filler. Like, it was treacherous to get through. I didn't like the map. It wasn't interesting. Like, it was a chaotic nightmare. Hated it. This was a lot more interesting story-wise. We've just defeated Mordremoth, and we're starting that next stage, and so we've still got, some of those storylines to continue over from Heart of Thorns, like Glint's Egg, the research in Rotanovis, that kind of stuff, but then we kind of have to progress the story, like what happens now. So this is just trying to get a handle on, what the White Mantle are up to, which is not a group we've really had a lot of experience with up to this point. So it's introducing, a slightly different enemy faction. It's kind of interesting to see where the story goes from here. So a lot of this is just spent running around trying to figure out how to get to each area. There's a lot of different elevations on this map, a lot of different islands, bouncing mushrooms, gliding, updrafts, all a must. It's fairly ridiculous trying to navigate, especially if you're not great at navigating. But like I said, not the most obnoxious of maps to navigate. Like, it's not a long map, like it's fairly almost circular in nature. Like, it really is a smaller map in terms of some of the areas we've had to explore. So it's pretty much just figuring out where the updrafts and mushrooms are and where they send you, and then figuring out that elevation. So it wasn't too rough. Like I said, it's a little chaotic of a map, obviously. Like, it's an exploded landmass, essentially. But like, it's an oval. So like, it's just very long but very shallow, and it is what it is. If you're not in the right spot, you're probably too far up or too far down. Like, that's pretty much the moral of the story. Fortunately for this particular quest, you really just kind of have to mosey around and find the different locations and hit your map markers. And that's kind of it. This last one wasn't the easiest to get to, but it wasn't by any means the most difficult. I still spent less time, I think, navigating around this map than I did for some of the Bahuma stuff. I did utilize waypoints a little bit and kind of hip-hop my way around the waypoints to get to the different areas. This was just trying to get to the middle, and there were always scary things in the middle that kind didn't really like playing with. Like, even with a fairly newer build, like the enraged spirits were just unkind. They were unkind and unfun to play with, and I didn't want any part of it. Literally, all I had to do was get to the middle of this freaking Coliseum thing. That's all I had to do at this point. And scattered throughout this area too, there were random like journal pages, and there were like 2 or 3 different journals to find. I don't think I found them all there, and that progressed throughout the entirety of chapter 1. But it is obviously giving you that little bit of, you know, bloodstone type magic nonsense and bloodstone stuff, and it introduced this collection of magic type stuff, like those little blue glowy orbs. So you can collect those and trade them in for something. So finally just glided in and said, see you. And then I was out again, in and out. And then we continue our search for survivors. See what's going on in the world. So it was, yeah, like it just looks like a chaotic map. Like any vista you look in, it's chaos. Just pure and utter chaos. This whole park, this whole map is just all. But anything is easier after Maguma. I mean, some of that nonsense. And pain in the butt. So yeah, then we find the little camp that they've all been setting up at and trying to, you know, gather each other towards, and trying to get a handle on what's been going on down there. And like I said, it's a fairly interesting concept. And the corruption of the White Mantle and what's going on with them and everybody that was, you know, in the area of the Bloodstone explosion. And the people that came afterwards, and so it should be interesting to see where we go from here. So then we turn in our quest and that's that. So, like I said, not much. It's mostly just exploring the area, and I think it just purely wanted to let you be like, oh hey, check out what we made. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Bye.